I was in Sri Lanka on vacation when the Asian tsunami struck. My wife was born in Sri Lanka, that's her people group. She was a doctor, and we ran a medical clinic for the Sri Lankan Red Cross. And now I ended up back there as an aid worker for the years that followed. But I guess my gospel of justice went from being personal, one-on-one with individuals hurting, to suddenly being global. And what played out for me in the country of Sri Lanka was not just the tsunami and the massive effect, 30,000 people lost their lives, but an immediate resurgence of a very vicious civil war. And we stayed for the end of that, and I became deeply involved in a gross injustice, in picking up the pieces of shattered lives in a civil war. And I've never looked at the issue the same since. It is for me now a global issue of the world and the hurt and the pain that we cause it because of deep injustices. Well, I run an organisation called Fund, and we have some spectacular partners working on this issue of anti-trafficking, the prevention of women and girls being exploited. And so in Southeast Asia, I guess in the vicinity in which we find ourselves, in New Zealand and Australia, we have this trade in human lives which is just abhorrent. And we have some fantastic partners working the full spectrum, from the prevention of that to the prosecution of perpetrators right the way through to the protection of women and girls afterwards. So I'm finding myself increasingly involved in what it takes to bring essentially an evil to some close, to prevent it, to safeguard human life. So right now that's a busy topic for us. Well, I don't think I could work on justice issues without a faith. I think it would be as I'd heard today from Andy Crouch, it'd be this mechanical thing. Whereas with faith, it becomes, who am I meant to be in God, and then how am I meant to reach out to my neighbour? So whether I find myself walking into a refugee camp, as I do, or on the edge of a brothel at times in which we're seeking to arrest one person and rescue another, faith is deeply relevant. It speaks to the human condition of sin, of want, of desire, of exploitation, and of freedom. And so I find then it's not just an issue for me to work on in my daily job in an aid organisation, but in my personal life. What is freedom in Christ? To whom am I enslaved? How do I suffer? How do I perpetuate injustice on others? And I think at that point we get to drop the facade, and we get to realise that we are all involved daily in this business of justice and injustice, and it's a daily choice for each of us.